Mary had a little man.
The fault. We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon. I have a dream today. Change has come to America.
Believe it.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show.
Turn up your mind.
Have you ever seen anything like this before?
No. It's not that I have not seen. Nobody has ever seen this. This really is an outrage. And this is why I work so hard, the progressive community worked so hard in this election. Because what we knew this campaign, this election was about, it's not just climate change or criminal justice reform or the economy. It is whether or not we continue to have a president in Donald Trump who is a pathological liar, who really is trying to move this country beyond the rule of law. And that is something that we cannot accept. And thank God we were able to defeat him.
Your colleague, Senator Chris Coons, a Democrat from Delaware, told CNN he's hearing from some of his Republican colleagues who wish to congratulate President-elect Biden, but say they can't do that publicly yet. Are you having similar conversations with Republicans behind the scenes?
Look, absolutely. The average Republican senator is not an idiot. They understand that, that Trump has lost. But one of the other things that we should all be nervous about and fearful about is the degree to which Trump intimidates and scares the hell out of Republican members of Congress. They are afraid to stand up to him. So you got a party not of individuals, but almost a cult-type party where members of the Senate who know better, not just on this issue, on many other issues, they'll come up to you privately and say, yeah, Trump's a little bit crazy. But, So, I think I would hope, I don't want to, the Republicans won't take my advice anyhow, I know that, but I would hope that they get the courage to stand up as individuals, represent their constituencies, and do not live in fear of Donald Trump. It's not a good thing.
Oh, for God's sake.
In fear of Donald Trump. They live in fear of Donald Trump. They don't live in fear of Donald Trump. They live in fear of Donald Trump's voters. They need Donald Trump's voters. They want Donald Trump's voters, and that's why they won't develop the courage to defend democracy over Donald Trump. Period. End of story. John Nichols at The Nation crunched some numbers for us. It is pretty overwhelming. Trump got trounced. He got trounced. He got less of the percentage of the popular vote this election than Jimmy Carter got in 1980 when he lost to Ronald Reagan. 1980, that was my first election, my very first election. I believe that while I was still in line, Jimmy Carter conceded. I think that's what happened. No, honestly, this is amazing. I mean, the amount of votes that went for Joe Biden is insane. So, why can't Donald Trump take a page from Jimmy Carter? Because he's no Jimmy Carter. That's why. Jimmy Carter was a businessman. Jimmy Carter is a businessman. And Jimmy Carter was a fabulous ex-president, He conceded graciously, and then he went on to build homes for poor people. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? Donald Trump conceding gracefully and going on to build homes for poor people. That would be the first successful build that Donald Trump was ever part of, that he didn't just slap his name on top of. That's where we are. That's what we're doing. It seems like the only state left, because Arizona, 2 more news organizations called it for Arizona. It's done. Okay, Arizona, margin of 11,000 votes. That's very similar to the amount of votes that Donald Trump won last time in Wisconsin, right? 11,000 votes. So nobody screamed for a recount. Nobody said, "Oh, it's only 11,000 votes. Let's not concede." That did not happen. The hypocrisy of this party is so tangible and knowable because it's on tape. Here you have the Trump crowd. I don't know what to call them anymore. The Trump sycophants, the Trump pansies. Here you have them on tape in 2016. Now remember, Hillary Clinton conceded within 24 hours. She needed a brief moment. Remember? And she had to go for a walk in the woods. Remember that? She had to go for a walk. Can you imagine Donald Trump going for a walk He would do it with a golf cart. So much for nature, you know? But here they are in 2016. Just, love on this.
You have people out there calling for recounts that are unsubstantiated based on no evidence. This was a legitimate election, and no one should question the fact that Donald Trump is the president-elect.
It's a fascinating group of these Democrats who can't seem to realize that it is time to move on. It is time to accept the fact that Trump will be the next president of the United States.
Hillary is on her sore loser tour, and now we have her going through recounts. You know what she needs to do? She needs to get over it. She lost. Yeah. Get out of the way and let Donald Trump be president.
Do you think the Democrats are sore losers? Yeah, I do.
The reality is they're a bunch of spoiled crybabies.
Newsflash for many of the partisan Democrats and those in the mainstream media who continue to try to delegitimize President-elect Trump's massive and historic win last month. The election's over. Hillary Clinton lost. You have to win 270 electoral votes to be elected president, and President-elect Trump actually got 306. This is all really just an effort to try to delegitimize the win.
The left's going to lie. The left's going to besmirch. They're going to go crazy.
Now.
They can't accept the election results, let alone the fact that he's actually going to solve problems.
They have to decide whether they're going to interfere with him finishing his business, interfere with the peaceful transfer of power to President-elect Trump and Vice President-elect Pence, or if they're going to be a bunch of crybabies and sore losers about an election that they can't turn around.
This is America. We live in a democracy. Everybody, when they woke up in the morning, was registered to vote, could go choose. So how about respecting the majority that also live here, and their vote should count?
Shame on you. They have no moral compass, okay? They just none. It's just so unbelievable. So, go for a long walk in the woods. Try not to get lost. That is how fumfering and phenomenally inadequate these people are. It's wow, wow. And here was Hillary, and here was Obama, and all the Democrats in 2016 saying it's time for the transition. Here it is.
We must accept this result and then look to the future. Donald Trump is going to be our president. We owe him an open mind and the chance to lead.
So I have instructed my team to follow the example that President Bush's team set 8 years ago and work as hard as we can to make sure that this is a successful transition for the president-elect.
I want to offer my congratulations to President-elect Donald Trump and wish him well for the American people.
We, of course, were all very disappointed, not more than disappointed, hard to accept the results, but accept we do. The peaceful transfer of power is what America and our democracy is about.
What was so hard about that? What is so hard about that for them? What is so hard about that? It seems like the only place that they can win is, the state of denial. They got victory in the state of denial, and there he runs unopposed. Maybe a state of emergency? I don't know. He wins in a state of emergency. The country is literally stricken with COVID. I mean, it's everywhere now. But it seems like the State Department is the only state that he actually has support in. Pompeo is standing in the way of the messages from foreign leaders that have been delivered through the State Department, which is the normal route to get to a president-elect or a president of the United States or a vice president-elect or a vice president of the United States. Foreign leaders go through the State Department because they have translation capability. They record everything. It's all out in the open kind of thing. But the State Department is literally blocking even the congratulatory open-sourced, messages from the entire world to Joe Biden and Kamala. This is just, I swear to God. So I don't know what his end game is. It's not clear. But whatever it is, it'll look like the Keystone Cops, okay? Because he's a moron. Like I said, if he went for a walk in the woods, he would get lost on a golf cart. Nature. No, this is really sad. But remember, all his evil schemes are half-assed. Like, if Darth Vader was played by Adam Sandler.
Clarity at RandiRhodes.com.
Go for launch.
Speaking truth to power, The Randi Rhodes Show.
a Republican. He said, listen, give Joe Biden the presidential daily brief. After all, Senator Harris she's on the Intel committee. She's getting, she has high-level security access. Has the president considered that?
I haven't spoken to the president about that. That would be a question more for the White House, but I will say that all laws are being followed with regard to an expected transition, though we expect to continue on as the Trump administration. We will see how our litigation goes.
What world are they in? I mean, like I said, it's got to be the state of denial. It's so amazing how they confront for him like this. She has to refer the question. The Republican senator is James Lankford of Oklahoma, who said, you know, it's time to give the president-elect the presidential daily briefing so we don't have any sort of lag time, let's put it that way, in passing the torch of the intelligence community from one administration to the other for the safety and the protection of the United States of America and all of its forces around the world. That's what James Lankford is saying out loud. Today, Lindsey is preparing to unsuck himself from Donald Trump and start sucking off of the next person in power because Lindsey is a parasite. Is what he is. He just goes wherever the power is, and he just latches on and blood sucks, for the rest of the power term. But what is she talking about? It's Kayleigh McEnany sitting there saying Joe Biden isn't going to get the PDBs, but that's a question for the White House. Is she not getting the memo that she works at the White House? What is that big white building behind her? What is that? Some ornate public library? What is that? That is the White House. We expect to continue on as the Trump administration. Oh, right. And I expect that General George Custer will continue as the commander of the 7th Cavalry. What the hell world are you in? Where do you toil? Where does your brain go? I don't even understand it. And then they asked her, well, are you thinking of flipping electors? Is that what you're doing?
State legislatures would then, because they would not be certified, would then appoint pro-Trump electors who would swing the Electoral College in his favor.
Do you have COVID?
It's unclear exactly how seriously the campaign is taking that. How seriously is the campaign considering that?
Well, constitutionally, that is an accurate argument. It is the state legislatures that choose the electors. But right now, they're zeroed in completely on litigation.
Oh, my God. Self-respecting lawyers are currently too embarrassed to work for the Trump re-election team. Did you hear what I just said? Self-respecting lawyers are too embarrassed to work for the Trump re-election team. They are political lawyers. Do you know how hard it is for them to feel shame? I live with one. Oh, my God. Wow. Do you know how impossible it is for political lawyers to feel embarrassed or shame when they... You're telling me that people who have Jeffrey Epstein on their resumes are too embarrassed to work for Donald Trump? Is that what you're saying? Oh, my God. Wow. So, oh, my. This is, whoa. Whoa. Holy. Now, I have to correct her. The Constitution doesn't say that the legislature picks the electors. No, it doesn't say that at all. You can go read it. It's in the Constitution, okay? What it says is the legislature of the states select the manner in which the electors are selected, and they already have done that. See? And the manner that they have chosen, those state legislatures, is the people. The people vote in their states as directed by the state legislatures under their rules that they have voted for and passed and then sent to their governors for a signature. That then is the manner the state legislatures have chosen for the states to select their electors. This is a bogus argument. I don't want anybody to spend any time thinking about it or grieving over it or any of the other thing. It's just, it's not possible, okay? It is impossible. Some secretaries of state, some attorneys general of some states, some city commissioners and other people, some state legislators have come out and said there is zero way in this state or that state or this state for the legislature to defy the majority vote that's already happened in our state. There are people that are saying things out loud now. There are plenty of Republicans. Here's the Arizona Attorney General. His name's Mark Brnovich, okay? And this was him yesterday. And this is before two other news outlets. Now, CNN still hasn't called Arizona. Don't ask me why. But he said, you know, there's no... he's trying to tell the Fox News audience, that's where he was, that there is no chance that Arizona is going to go for Donald Trump. The state has flipped. It is gone from a red state to a blue state. That is something that, I don't know, the history that I'm aware of. Arizona went from red to blue in 1996. It's now 2020, okay, for Bill Clinton. Prior to that, from what I have read, Arizona went from red to blue in 1948 for Harry Truman. Other than that, Arizona has voted Republican. Except not this time either. For Donald Trump, no. For Joe Biden, Arizona flipped.
The really short answer to this, Neil, is that on election night, if you looked at the numbers, and a lot of people that are really good at politics and polling here had said that it was possible for the president to come back. And as the numbers started returning, the president started making some gains. But the reality is right now there's, you know, less than 50,000 votes to count, and the president would have to get about 65% of them to win Arizona. So it does appear that Joe Biden will win Arizona. That being said, our office had received more than 1,000 complaints shortly after the election dealing with bleed-throughs and people using Sharpies. We looked into that. We were able to determine that did not affect anyone's vote. They also did a random audit of 2% of the precincts, and it came back 100%, that there wasn't any statistical anomalies or errors. As to the lawsuit that was filed, we are literally talking about less than 200 votes that are in question and doubt. So the reality is, even if it was possible that those votes flip, those 200 votes, I do not think it will make a difference in Arizona just because of the numbers.
Snell Wilmer, which was the largest law firm representing Donald Trump's campaign in Arizona, they just withdrew. They're not going to represent him anymore. Do you know how hard that is? These are political lawyers, I swear to God, I can't even believe it. But this is historic. You understand, this is a rout. Arizona flipped. And it flipped on election night. And that's how we knew.
Call in, connect. To speak to Randi, call 561-270-3844. 561-270-3844.
Here's the Lieutenant Governor of Pennsylvania.
Look, bottom line, if ifs and buts were candy and nuts, the president would be on deck to have a better Thanksgiving than he's going to have. You know, math doesn't care about his feelings, doesn't care about anyone's feelings. The math in Pennsylvania is damning for the president. These contested late ballots, 10,000, oh no, we're going to take that to the Supreme Court. Take it to the Supreme Court. You know what? Spot the president, all 10,000 for all I care, because the vice president is going to be up 50, 60,000 votes when all the counting is done, if not more. The bottom line is that there is no truth to any of this. And at some point, we all have to collectively accept that yelling voter fraud when there is no evidence whatsoever of it is yelling fire in a crowded theater, and it is harming the democratic franchise of our country and the peaceful transition of power, and we cannot accept that.
It's just that basic, but, these poor sheep, I feel so bad. It's, they've been part of a death cult. They've been willing to die for this man. You have to appreciate how deep it goes with them. But, you know, they've been fleeced so many times by this man that I'm surprised they don't have razor burn like the born agains. They were born again so many times. They have razor rash. You know what I'm saying? It's a bizarre cognitive dissonance. They have been living in a bubble of lies. And the people of the United States have voted to expose those lies. They have chosen not to continue with a pandemic, with it will magically go away, with what if we injected lightsabers up our bum, or what if we ate, a disinfectant, or chewed on Tide Pods, or hydroxychloroquine. Take it. Take it. You know, I mean, most Americans are not that, fleeceable. We're just not that naive. But his election, his followers, and there is one last heist going on. There is still one last heist. He's doing one more caper. I don't know if you know this or not, but he's got a sort of a political action committee, where you give money to him to bring these frivolous lawsuits, which, by the way, a lot of lawyers, you know why they're withdrawing? Because they know that while Donald Trump is going to magically go away, so will their law license if they keep bringing frivolous cases. There is due diligence that is required of a lawyer. And by due diligence, I mean they have to know whether or not there is a better than 50% chance of evidence supporting their claim of fraud. And they know that there is no chance, there is a 0% chance that they can produce evidence of fraud that would affect the outcome of any election they are contesting in any of these states, in Michigan, in Pennsylvania, in Arizona. That's why all these law firms are withdrawing, because they have to argue before a court, and the court will make a note of it. And you know who else will make a note of, lawyers that bring frivolous lawsuits? The defendant that they're suing. They'll say, oh, you know what? This guy, he does slap suits, or this guy, he does frivolous lawsuits. We don't even have to bother because the judge is going to dismiss it. See, these people have to continue to practice law, and they have to continue to be part of the code of ethics, or they will lose their law license. And that's what's happening, and that's why they're all withdrawing. But the donors to Donald Trump's, bring these lawsuit thing, Arizona for Biden, it's a scheme. It's an actual scheme to fleece his followers one more time, and just one last heist, one last caper, right? Because the money that people gave to support Donald Trump's lawyers, who are withdrawing in droves, is actually going not toward invalidating the election, but it's going toward invalidating the debt that the Trump campaign has. Now, what's really interesting about the debt is they hardly did any TV stuff. I mean, they didn't spend a whole lot of money. So where did the money go? Where did it go? But in the small print, in the fine print, in the legalese section of the, when the donors donate, there's a fine print at the end, and it says that if you give less than $8,000, then none of the money that you donate goes to the fight to invalidate the election. It either goes toward invalidating Trump's massive debt, or it goes toward a political action committee, because Trump has the delusional fantasy that he's going to run again at 77 years old in 2024. Now, this is where my friend Robin is correct. By 2024, he should be in prison. I think that's kind of where he'll end up. But this is unbelievable that he's trying to rip off his supporters one last time, one more time. So read the fine print, everybody. Here's what it says. Okay, he's going to send you an email or a text message, right? And it's going to say they're trying to, all caps, steal this election. Donald J. Trump, President of the United States, I promise you, my team is fighting the clock to, in caps, defend the integrity of this election, but we cannot do it alone. We need every patriot like you to step up and make sure we have the resources to keep going. Please contribute, in all caps, any amount right now to defend the election. But there's a link that is provided that says Official Election Defense Fund. And at the end, the legalese, the fine print says 60% of the contribution up to $5,000 goes to Save America, Trump's leadership PAC. And 40% of the contribution up to $35,500 goes to the Republican National Committee's operating account. It's political fund, not its legal fund. It's political fund. Only after reaching the second maximum amount, $35,500, would 1 penny go towards the legal account. Now, this is also important when you consider that it's very hard to get a political lawyer to have any shame or about any of this, but they know they're going to get stiffed. Don't you see? They know they're not going to get paid. And also, judges are laughing them out of the courtroom. It's straight up bait and switch for the people. It's a slush fund, okay? Just to use ordinary words, it's a slush fund. And it's there so that Donald Trump can extend his influence over the Republican National Committee. Okay, that's what it's there for. But the debt, you paid for it. It's already been zeroed out. All the money you gave to his legal defense fund has zeroed out and retired the debt. So he's been stealing the whole time. He used the presidency to self-enrich, right? Taxpayer dollars, we're paying for $6,000 for flowers, $7,000 for a dinner at Trump Properties. On and on it goes. They're shorn, these sheep. Shorn.
Clear. This is the Randi Rhodes Show. To speak with Randi, dial 561-270-3844. That's 561-270-3844.
What evidence of any widespread fraud have you seen in the count in Philadelphia?
I have not. If evidence of widespread fraud or evidence of any fraud at all is brought to our attention, we take a look at it and we refer it to law enforcement, as we always do in every election. I have seen the most fantastical things on social media, making completely ridiculous allegations that have no basis in fact at all, and see them spread. And I realize a lot of people are happy about this election, and a lot of people are not happy about this election. One thing I can't comprehend is how hungry people are to consume lies and to consume information that is not true.
What information is not true, to be clear?
Just the other day, I saw something that it was a long list of people that they said were dead voters who voted in Philadelphia. So when we took a break between everything else that we're doing, we looked it up, each one of them, to see what their vote history was. Not a single one of them voted in Philadelphia after they died.
Oh! Not a single one. And of course, Fox News is breathlessly, saying dead people voted. Dead people voted. I want you to know dead people voted. And Donald Trump is saying, oh, there's been massive fraud and you need to give me money. And really what he's doing is he's running a slush fund. In the Nixon era, they called it the Committee to Re-elect the President. It was called CREEP for short. Well, that was a very unfortunate an acronym, but, CREEP. And it was a slush fund is what it was. And that's what Donald Trump is doing. He's trying to get a slush fund for his own benefit. And, listen, there's nothing strange about that for him. He has been stealing from us the entire time. The entire time. He has billed taxpayers for hotels and golf clubs, his hotels, his golf clubs, various properties around the world. Over the years, he used his charity for self-benefit, a charity that was ruled a fraud to the point where not only can't Donald Trump ever run a charity, but neither can his children. His children are barred from ever running a charity, or being in a position of honor on the board of a charity. He had hundreds of millions of dollars from creditors forgiven as he was president. And you know what we've paid for? This is according to the Washington Post. David Fairnhold. Trump's properties have billed taxpayers $2.5 million for things like $7,000 for a dinner. A dinner. A dinner? What is that? I remember I was once at Cipriani's in New York, and there was a $25 hamburger on the menu, and I was like, what the hell is a $25 hamburger? $7,000 for a dinner. $17,000 a month for a cottage. $6,000 for flowers. $650 a night hotel rooms. $1,000 for drinks for the White House staff. Even the $3 drinking water we paid for at the president's hotels, at the president's golf clubs. Steve Bannon, too. Steve Bannon defrauded contributors to We Build the Wall. Remember that? And where was Steve Bannon arrested? He was arrested on a Chinese, all you people on China watch out there, he was on a Chinese billionaire's yacht. He stole $1 million from small donors who thought they were giving to We Build the Wall, that they were going to build the wall down in on the border. This is crazy. This is crazy. And people still fall for it. And just it does break my heart up to a point, and then it's time to like smack yourself into reality. I know it's painful. I know it's hard for you to comprehend the truth after being fed a steady diet of lies. It's like if all you ever ate were French fries, and now all of a sudden the only thing you're allowed to eat is vegetables. It would freak you out. I get it. Time to wake up. Joe in Miami Gardens.
Oh, hello, Randy?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was about to say, Randy, you old yenta, you. Anyway, I remember the old joke, what's the plural of yenta? Hadassah?
Okay, the Jews are laughing. A full 1/10 of 1% of the audience is hysterical right now.
Right. Anyway, listen, I think, Randy, we better keep an eye on this creep that calls himself Trump. He's trying to get the military involved in some half-assed scheme to use them to try to pull some type of coup. And
what evidence do you have that is happening?
Well, what's in the news is he fired that Secretary Esper and
he fired the Raytheon lobbyist. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, but he's putting his cronies and suck-ups in positions of power in the Defense Department. And I guess the point of what I'm trying to say is that, we got to keep an eye on things, because with Trump, it's like the old cliche, we got to expect the unexpected. And, which I'm kind of on, tenterhooks until January 20th comes around. But one thing we definitely have to be grateful for is so far the predicted violence hasn't occurred. That all these stores boarded up their windows for nothing, and real fast. I believe with these two clowns. What's his name? Paul DeJoy with the post office and Lindsey Graham. They should both be indicted. The first one for throwing the mail, and the other one for soliciting campaign fund in the Senate office building in violation of federal law.
Those are two real things. The DeJoy thing and the Lindsey Graham thing. Those are real. Here's the thing with the military. He has gone after the civilian portion of the military, the Secretary of Defense, right? A couple of guys, like I said, one of these guys, Frank Wuko, is a right-wing lunatic fringe conspiracy theorist talk show host from Tampa, Florida. He worked on WFLA in Tampa, okay? And none of this should surprise anybody, that he's doing this, that he's trying to leave nothing behind for Joe Biden to get a transition, going. Because who would want to be briefed by Frank Wuko? Do you know what I'm saying? Who in the Biden incoming administration would value anything that General Tata, okay, who tweets out the most, like, suck on a pistol, to Joe Biden. I mean, just really heinous, disgusting, ugly things. The Biden administration doesn't need to be briefed by these guys. And so that's over there. And this is a big, like I said, if and buts were candy and nuts, you'd have a much better Thanksgiving. But if you see Donald Trump going after the Joint Chiefs, the uniformed military, if he tries to remove Milley or any of the, secretaries of the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine, like that, then you should, actually sit up and say, holy, whatever you're going to say. But right now, the uniformed military is not, I repeat, not going to attack Americans. It will not happen. I know everybody is like freaked out. I'm freaked out that Donald Trump is leaving nothing behind, that he's doing a scorched earth. Today he purged a couple of people from the Department of Homeland Security. Okay, what he's leaving is a White House full of COVID. Okay, Corey Lewandowski got diagnosed today with COVID. I mean, all he's leaving is a diseased, it needs to be fumigated, okay? Everything needs to be literally fumigated after him. It's a disgrace. But if the uniformed military starts being fired or asked for resignations or whatever, that's what. Now, what I will say is Saturday in D.C., there's supposed to be a million MAGA march. I'll tell you what I know about that on the other side of the news, okay? It does involve militia guys and stuff like that. But remember, D.C. has gun laws.
Mary had a little ram. The fault. We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon.
I have a dream today.
Change has come to America.
Believe me. Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show.
Turn up your mind.
It definitely feels more like Moon over Parador, the movie, than it does a real coup. But this is a coup of sorts. We've never seen this in this country. This is a legitimate election, a fair election. Joe Biden has won the election. And every other year in the modern history of the country, the losing presidential candidate would have called, would have conceded. Everyone would have acknowledged it, and on we go. Right? That's what we do in America. So this is an outrageous situation.
But Steve, it's not a coup. It's cuckoo. So isn't this an opportunity for Mitch McConnell, for Mitt Romney, for others to say, now let's be a more moderate Republican Party. Let's find a way to work with Joe Biden. When we woke up on Sunday morning after this race was called and we saw loads of people dancing in the street, it wasn't necessarily because they loved Joe Biden and they hated Donald Trump. People were relieved to go back to normalcy, to possibly love thy neighbor again. Then couldn't this be an opportunity for the Republican Party to say, let's moderate again?
They
could leave him in the dust.
But they're not going to, because they remain terrified of him. And they need that Trump voter, or so they believe, for example, in the Georgia special election. So we have 4 senators, to their credit, have acknowledged reality. right? But no senators at this moment have taken to the floor of the Senate to decry the illiberalism of this, the undemocratic nature of this. You know, at the end of the day, it is cuckoo, but the party's been cuckoo for years, and it's going to get more cuckoo. Kelly Loeffler in Georgia has played footsies with the QAnon congressional candidate. Remember, there are more QAnon members in the Republican conference in the House of Representatives than there are minorities. The party's going to get more cuckoo over the next 4 years.
Oh, my God. So what I was telling you yesterday about my deduction, my conclusion, that the reason why Republican senators especially will not ask Trump to concede, will not have their Barry Goldwater moment where they walk over and tell him this is over. This is done. There is no path to 270 for you. People have spoken. It's done. Concede with grace and wish the country well if you can't wish Joe Biden well. The reason they won't do it is because there's still a Senate election. And that Senate election will determine for the next 2 years who controls the Senate. Whether or not Mitch McConnell becomes a minority leader and Chuck Schumer or somebody in the conference is voted majority leader for the Democrats. Whether or not we have a shot at an infrastructure package, we have a shot at health care reform, we have a shot at lowering the age for Medicare to 60, whether or not we have a shot at racial justice, whether or not we have a shot. That's why they won't. It's all about Georgia. And I told you that yesterday. They're not going to go quietly into that good night until Georgia is done. And that's January 5th. And Donald Trump will still be president on January 5th. And they want him to go, the devil. They want the devil to go down to Georgia looking for votes to steal. They're in a bind. They're way behind. They're willing to make a deal. And that is what is going on. And I told you that. And now everybody's going to tell you that. Now, I wanted to mention to you that there's supposed to be, one of our listeners sent me an email that she had heard, right, that there was going to be a MAGA rally, big MAGA rally in Washington, D.C. over the weekend. And I wrote her back, because I write everybody back, I wrote her back that I had not seen the police, the D.C. Metropolitan Police, pull a permit for anybody to have a rally or a parade or anything this Saturday in D.C. And that remains the truth to this minute. If it changes, I'll tell you. But the Oath Keepers and the 3%ers and the InfoWar fanatics, you know, the conspiracy theorists who literally believe that now, I mean, they don't know what to believe. You mean there's no pedophile ring at Comet Pizza Parlor and Ping Pong? Hillary's not running a pedophile ring? What do I do now? What do I do now? I don't know what's true. The Grapers, the Proud Boys, white nationalists, neo-Nazis, and people who simply call themselves diehard cult members are supposed to rally in resistance in D.C. on Saturday. Again, I have not seen D.C. Metropolitan Police okay a permit or anybody file for a permit. So we'll see what happens, to quote the president currently of the United. We'll see what happens. Tune in next week. You know, let's run this like a reality TV show too. No, I don't know. I really have no idea, but, you know, it is solely designed to create disruption, possibly chaos. That is why I'm not sure that the police in D.C. would. I haven't even seen them apply for a permit, so I don't even want to weigh in on it, except to tell you that D.C. has gun laws. This is not going to be like Michigan, where you carry a semi-automatic weapon into the Capitol and get right in police officers' faces and threaten to behead the governor ahead of finding out that those people had actually taken steps to kidnap her, try her for treason, for trying to protect Michigan from a COVID pandemic and then kill her. But these are the dead end trolls, okay? And so, you know, we'll keep our eye on it. Trust me, it will not be. You remember the women's march after Donald Trump got elected in D.C. Remember that? I mean, that was humongous. There were over 1 million women there. And remember the right made fun of us with we had pink hats, right? I don't even like to say what we called them. But we had pink hats and we were, you know, outraged because we knew that the president had bragged about assaulting women, grabbing us by our private parts and joking about it. We knew, and we understood that, you know, he thought if you were a star, you can do anything to a woman. That's why women were out in the street. But I don't know what's going to happen on Saturday. I will tell you, you know, the Proud Boys have been standing by. They've been standing back and standing by for a very long time. But they would just look stupid, you know? It's not going to let Trump keep the White House. You know what would work? Boat parade. No. No, weren't the boat parades here in Palm Beach County, weren't those the things that swung the election toward Donald Trump in the first place? Wasn't that it? And isn't that the real reason why Joe Biden could never, ever be the real winner? Because nobody ever took a single boat on a single lake or in a single intracoastal or in a single ocean for Joe Biden. Boat parade. I hope you understand, people in a boat parade are people who can afford a boat. They can afford a freaking boat. You know what it costs to have a boat? You got to have a dock. You got to have, insurance. I mean, you have to own a boat. Who's got money for a freaking boat? We're trying to get stimulus money out for people who can't even go to work. I mean, this is crazy.
Come down to the parade. Join Buffy and I.
Yes, Buffy and I. We're going to have drinks, dirty martinis, extra olives, everybody. Oh, my God, a freaking boat? Let's just call it's MAGA Largo is what it is down there, okay? It's just, it's just, I don't know.
All things Randi at RandiRhodes.com.
Go for launch.
Speaking truth to power, the Randi Rhodes Show.
As you know, Wolf, early on in the campaign, members of the Biden team and my team sat down on some of the major issues facing our country, the economy, healthcare, education, climate, etc., to see how we can work together to come up with proposals that, neither side necessarily agreed with, but which made sense for the American people, especially the working families of our country today who are suffering more than probably at any time since the Great Depression. And we hammered out agreement. So if your question is, do I expect that the Biden administration will do everything that Bernie Sanders believes? No, I don't. But do I expect that they will come forward and keep their word in maintaining and legislating on the proposals which we agreed to? Yes, I do. And some of those proposals are very, very significant. It means expanding health care to all Americans. It means lowering the Medicare age from 65 to 60. It means raising the minimum wage to at least $15 an hour. It means making it easier for workers to form unions, equal pay for equal work, investing $2 trillion in combating climate change and creating millions of jobs as we move away from fossil fuel to energy efficiency and sustainable energy. So would I have gone further? Yes. Are those significant proposals that will protect the needs of working families? Yes, they are.
Yes, they are, everybody. Yes, they are. It's exactly the kind of progress we need to make. And it is something that can only happen if we have the Senate. And that is why the Republicans are so squeamish about letting go of Donald Trump. They need his voters, and they need them angry and agitated and believing a falsehood. They need them to believe that this election was not free, it was not fair, it was stolen from Donald Trump, it was rigged, it was, a fraud, everything. And for all these lawsuits, okay, that have been brought, there's been zero, squat, goose egg, donut, nada, zilch evidence attached to any of those lawsuits. I put up a transcript on my Twitter feed last night of one of the lawsuits in Pennsylvania. It's hysterical. I read them. And I went through one of them, and the judge is asking the Trump lawyer a specific question. He said, are you saying that he's talking about 200 ballots, which in Pennsylvania, there's a 50,000 vote margin for Joe Biden. All right. But he's asking him, these 200 ballots that you're so, sure are somehow, broken, fraudulent, are you alleging fraud? And the lawyer goes through this whole long explanation about, I really would hesitate, Your Honor, to call anybody a fraud because that would mean that they are a liar. And I don't like calling people liars. And the judge says, I'm asking you a specific question. Are you alleging fraud? No, Your Honor, I'm not. Are you alleging that anything in this lawsuit would affect the electors? No, Your Honor, I'm not. Bye-bye. See ya. Don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split ya. Bye-bye. And I posted that little transcript, okay? So here is where we are. Biden is the president-elect. Kamala Harris is the vice president-elect. Ron Klain, who is known to my family, he's a wonderful guy. Just in case you were wondering, is Ron Klain a good pick for the chief of staff for President-elect Biden? Yes, Ron Klain is an unbelievable guy with an amazing amount of experience. He's ready on day one. This is the beauty of having somebody with experience. Remember, Joe Biden was the chairman of the Foreign Relations Committee. He doesn't need to be briefed by Frank Wuko of Tampa, Florida. They don't. Plus, please remember this, Kamala Harris is on the Intelligence Committee currently as a U.S. Senator. So she is getting briefed on intelligence matters. Okay? We are vulnerable, but we're not that vulnerable. Just saying. But Georgia is everything. It will determine whether or not we can have an increase in Social Security benefits, whether or not we will create new union jobs, like in clean energy sectors, right? Whether or not we will expand health care to more Americans, whether or not I will be able to buy into Medicare because I'm 60, right? Whether or not we can cancel billions of dollars of student loan debt, whether or not we can hold law enforcement accountable for bad behavior and stop saying, yeah, there are a few bad apples, but do nothing about those few bad apples. Whether or not we can raise taxes on the uber wealthy, whether or not we can increase corporate taxation just by a smidge, just by a little touch, a little tad, whether or not we can repeal what Trump gave them in 2017, which was permission to go offshore, make profits for an American company to go offshore, make profits over there, and not have to pay taxes on them, which incentivized companies to go over there. He did that. He told you a whole different story over and over and over again, that he was opening up factories and that car companies, and Shinzo and I talked and they opened. That none of that happened. It didn't happen. He said it, but it didn't occur. It isn't real. Whether or not we can have universal child care for people who have to work. Do you know what I'm saying? But we need the Senate to do it. So here is a wonderful, and this is in the homework today in case it goes by too fast for you or you're driving or whatever your deal is right now. There is in the homework today at randyrhodes.com. This is free. Just go there. You'll see, right? You can click past that if you want to, or you can do something. And then go to the homework section. Click on homework. At the top of the page, you'll see homework. Click on it. And you'll see in the homework how to help Georgia Senate runoff races and flip the Senate blue. There are two people that need to be elected still, and they don't have an election until January 5th. That's Jon Ossoff and Raphael Warnock. They need to win in Georgia. They are both running for Senate seats against two criminals. Kelly Loeffler, who is the richest, her husband owns the New York Stock Exchange. And she got this private COVID briefing and was able to sell short. Okay, they made a fortune. Same thing with Senator David Perdue. These are the Republican challengers. They have got to go. Perdue keeps voting to overturn the ACA, get rid of pre-existing conditions. He's voted for it like 5 times to do that. And then he's also gotten caught doing insider trading during the time of the pandemic. And Kelly Loeffler, like I said, her husband owns the New York Stock Exchange. She is literally the richest member of the Senate, and she's a special appointment. She bought that Senate seat. And she also wants to get rid of pre-existing condition protections. They have also disputed their own state's election results. They have called for the resignation of their own Republican Secretary of State based on frivolous, empty election fraud claims. Zero evidence, but they've called for the... All right, so I'm going to show you how to help.
Connect. To speak to Randi, call 561-270-3844.
561-270-3844. With the Senate, President-elect Biden and Vice President-elect Harris can lead us out of this pandemic and invest in economic recovery. With the Senate, we can pass criminal justice reform and strengthen voting rights. With the Senate, we can invest in clean energy and save our environment and make investments in infrastructure. With the Senate, we can protect Roe v. Wade and the privacy of women's health care. Without the Senate, we can do none of those things. And that's why the stakes are so high in Georgia right now, and why I'm asking folks across the country to help us win these races and visit electjon.com to chip in $1 to help us get out the vote here.
All right, so that's Jon Ossoff, okay, and he is running against David Perdue, who's a criminal, and he called him out at the debate. Ossoff did. He called out Senator Perdue for ignoring COVID when he was briefed and decided to use that information not to protect Georgians or not to, make a stink about how we needed to do testing. We had to get tests out really fast to everybody so they could, know whether or not to isolate or could they continue to go to work, right? Anyway, that's Jon Ossoff. So Jon Ossoff is asking for $1, all right? Now, if you're in Georgia, everything is on the line here. I swear to God, paid family leave, SNAP benefits, access to health care, union jobs, clean energy, just everything, Social Security benefits, all this stuff is on the line. And it takes a Senate, as you know, because Mitch McConnell tables everything. So we get no progress. So if you live in Georgia, you can get involved from either knocking on doors to hosting an event at your house. You can attend rallies. You can keep campaign staffers housed. But there is an organization in Georgia called Outvote. And that helps Georgians who support Raphael Warnock and Jon Ossoff to get their friends and their families to the polls. You can also start using the hashtag #WhyI'mVotingWarnock. And that's not limited to Georgia. That we can all do so that all Americans can have all of our issues at least considered by the United States Senate. The Georgia Democratic Party is also looking for volunteers. They need poll monitors. They need ballot processing monitors. You see how hard a job this really is. Now that you have seen the live stream in the count rooms of these people who are processing, and now they have to go back in Georgia. They're going to do a hand recount of every single piece of paper. Every single piece of paper. So they need poll workers for the January 5th runoff. Fair Fight, Stacey Abrams Voter Participation, Education, and Rights Organization. They're also looking for local volunteers in Georgia for similar tasks. Now, if you're outside of Georgia, There's plenty for us to do. I will use my social media, which is not, I don't have 1 million followers. I have about 60,000 followers, something like that. But I will use whatever I have to amplify this race, the importance of it, why we need to pay attention, and how we can help from out of state to support winning the Senate for all Americans. Okay, so use your social media. Rapid response. There's a rapid response team that the Warnock campaign has. And if you go to Warnock's website, you'll see the rapid response team. They will give you the content, and you can amplify that content on your social media. John Ossoff is running daily phone banks. You can participate in them virtually no matter where you live. Now, maybe yesterday you heard me talking to my friend Robin in Harlem. She's involved in the Georgia Postcard Project. Now, that is a grassroots initiative, okay? And what you do is you write postcards to registered Democrats in Georgia. And you can get this information from either of the campaigns. And you just send a little postcard with January 5th on it, and you underline the importance of voting in these runoff races for Democrats. You can even just bullet point like what is on the ballot, like expanding health care, cancel billions of dollars in student loan debt, holding bad apples in law enforcement accountable, social justice, whatever you could bullet point it on a little postcard and drop it in the mail. Okay. There are plenty of places to donate. Okay. You can directly donate to John Ossoff, elect John, right? Jon. You can donate to the Warnock campaign. You can donate to Georgia Democrats. Georgia Stand Up is another place you can give $1. Fair Fight. And there are a number of organizations on the ground that will work to get out that vote on January 5th. So if you're able to donate, some of the organizations that could use financial support are Asian Americans Advancing Justice Atlanta. They will be mobilizing voters, and they will protect voting rights. Black Voters Matter Fund, virtual and in-person volunteer opportunities there. The New Georgia Project, they register and mobilize, and they can still get new voters. They can still register and mobilize young voters. Sister Song, that's an Atlanta-based women of color reproductive justice collective. They're organizing women of color, trans women, and other marginalized women to run for various offices. And then there's always the good old-fashioned way. There's merch, okay? There's merchandise, right? You just can't wear this to the polls. You can't wear political gear to the polls. But no matter where you live, you can support Warnock and Ossoff by buying their official campaign T-shirts or bumper stickers or whatever. There is an Atlanta-based marketer named Sarah Price. And she started, this is such a good slogan, Warnock your Ossoff. Okay. And she's selling Warnock your Ossoff merchandise. And she started as soon as it was clear that there was going to be a runoff. And 100% of the proceeds from all the sales of Warnock your Ossoff T-shirts, sweatshirts, yard signs are split 50-50 for each of the two campaigns. And they will also refer you directly to Fair Fight to support the campaigns in any additional capacity that you might want to. So there are ways to do this from within Georgia, obviously, and ways to do it from without. And it's very important because the Senate is going to determine how successful the presidency, the incoming, is going to be. Now, we could have another repeat of the last years of Obama where the Senate just, blocked, the word I want to use, blocked everything. You could have another, Mitch McConnell Senate where nothing gets done except for packing courts. That's all they care about. Or you can have a Senate that actually talks about and does something for working people. All working people. Because when you get a $15 an hour minimum wage, which, by the way, Biden can do through an executive order for federal employees, but not for the rest of us. But if you got a $15 minimum wage, as the law in the United States of America, it wouldn't be just for Democrats. It would be for all working Americans.
This is the Randi Rhodes Show. To speak with Randi, dial 561-270-3844. That's 561-270-3844.
When Congressman Lewis marched across that bridge 55 years ago, it was so that we, the people, could have moments like this one.
Something special and transformational is happening right here in Georgia. The people have spoken.
Change has come to Georgia. Change is coming to America.
I've been standing up for ordinary people, decent, hard-working people my entire life, and I'm not about to stop now. Because I've always been clear about who I'm running for. I know what this campaign and this moment and this movement is all about.
This is about human lives, human decency. We're all Americans. We're all in this together.
I submit that we're all we've got.
We have all the momentum. We have all the energy.
And I stand tonight to tell you I'm ready to go to work.
Y'all ready to work? We're just getting started.
So we must stand together. We must fight together. We must struggle together. We must pray together. We must stay together. We must stick together. It's night right now, but morning will surely come.
That's beautiful. I love that. That is a joint effort with John Ossoff and Raphael Warnock running for these 2 seats in the Senate that could change the direction of this country for the good, that could actually propel Americans who work for a living forward, that could actually result in, seriously, could actually result in child care being taken care of for working parents, that could actually result in health care that's truly affordable, expanding Medicare to younger people like me, okay, to literally do real meaningful justice reform, to increase Social Security benefits for people who are on Social Security and can barely live, to cancel billions of dollars of student loan debt, to create a safer place in America for unions to collectively bargain with their corporate masters, because the only power we have is the numbers of us. That's why I love in that ad where he said that all we have is each other. That's all we have. So I'm very excited about January 5th. That is what's next. It is what we're going to work for. It's what we're going to talk about. It's what we're going to find, a way to help happen. Joe in California.
Oh, hi. Thank you very much. My Shana Punham. Yeah.
This Mamala voted for Kamala. Yeah.
Happy belated Veterans Day, by the way. I think we were in the same time. I was served from 81 to 85, and I was just thinking about you talking the other day about your service. At any rate, I wanted to bring up something I heard today. You're as mad as I am, but, Ralph Nader had a position that he thought that would be interesting if you could listen to Biden appointing a couple of conservative Republicans to the cabinet, thereby not giving up any Senate seats there from the Democratic side. Clinton did this with Cohen, but I'm thinking of 2 states right now potentially that could be a benefit. One would be where Burr's at in North Carolina, and the gentleman in Wisconsin. That's the Republican senator, but it's a Democratic governor.
Ron Johnson?
So, there's another one.
The other one.
He was on TV the other day talking about counting the votes, but Wisconsin went blue. So he's a red state, or he's a Republican in a blue state. But if he got some cabinet position that he couldn't hurt anybody, maybe you give the balance back to the Democrats.
So
is it possible?
Again, it would come down to what state are you talking about? Because the only Republican in Wisconsin is Ron Johnson. Otherwise, we have Tammy Baldwin, and she's a Democrat.
So
Arizona, that we now have 2 Democratic senators. We have Kristen Sinema and Mark Kelly. Nevada, you got 2 Democratic senators.
Who's the guy?
What
There's
state?
a guy
What state would you pull from?
There's another state in the Midwest that has a Democratic governor, but it has a Republican senator. And he was on television. I want to say his last name starts with an S. But he was well-spoken, and he seems somewhat reasonable. He said, let the ballots be counted, and we'll go from there. But this gives you, should I say, takes 2 Republicans, and Biden gets to say, look, I picked up some Republicans in my cabinet, and then I'm not so – I really like what Stacey Abrams is doing, don't get me wrong. But, I mean, I'm just saying, if I announced that before the election, this made me take some of the wind out of the sails of all the Trump supporters.
So I appreciate what you're saying, but I don't know what state you're talking about that we could pull from.
It was, I thought it was the state of Wisconsin because he's a Democrat.
Wisconsin, the only Republican senator is Ron Johnson.
Okay, so then when Ohio, that's a Republican governor in Ohio.
Yeah, Mike DeWine.
Yes, and then Illinois, I'm grasping at straws here, but I know you do the homework.
You want me to now? All right, I'll research it. I'll figure it out for you. Which
got Martha McSally in Arizona.
She's gone. She just lost.
She's gone.
She just lost. There you go.
We just flipped her. But this is a Democratic governor in a Midwestern state that just went blue for Biden and has a senator that is a Republican.
Michigan? Are you thinking maybe Michigan?
Is it Michigan? What's the 2-1 is? Yeah. At any rate, if we do the homework, and if that's possible, potentially we have another way. But I think Stacey Abrams is the person.
We have 2 Democratic senators in Michigan.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. What state would you pull from?
I know there is one because Ralph Nader brought it up. The name escapes me.
Yeah, thanks.
Well, I'm sure it wouldn't take long to research that. I mean,
I'm doing it in real time with you, and I'm telling you that the only Republican senator in the Midwest where there is a Democratic governor is Wisconsin, and that would be Ron Johnson's seat. That would be it. Okay.
And North Carolina has Burr, and Burr was the gentleman, wasn't he, on the impeachment or the Judiciary Committee?
Who's the governor of North Carolina?
Who is the governor of North Carolina? He's a Democrat. No, he's a Democrat.
He is. Then we pull from North Carolina.
Mm-hmm. And you got another one, and but you want to find one that you can rely that they're not going to be cuckoo, because that's the thing. It's getting crazier. So you can't just pull anybody. You have to make sure the person that you will follow Biden's direction. And I think that Burr has represented that he can be fair. Not that I would say he's the best pick, but at least gets one less senator for the GOP.
So North Carolina, that's not a bad place to go.
It's not a bad place because it's a Democratic governor. He can make the appointment if their constitution in that state allows that, which I believe each state has their own constitution, but I believe that North Carolina does have that in there.
So that would be it.
And there's one more. I just have to do the research, but I know there's one more because we talked about this. I should say I heard about it on Tom's show this morning, and it was Ralph Nader's idea. So the gentleman who brought it forward brought it to Tom's attention that that's another possibility. So we could just donate money to Stacey Abrams' thing, and Fair Fight. I think you got a chance. You just saw this commercial. These 2 are the best going, and as you point out, those other 2 are both guilty of a crime.
They are. They're both guilty of crimes of insider trading, and Loeffler is, starting
if you did that or I did
starting to flirt with QAnon and all their crazy pedophile, running the universe thing, and it's just very creepy, and it's not. It represents absolutely no progress for anybody who cares about any of the issues that they obviously care about, the forgotten man issues. Those are the issues that the Democratic Party would like to tackle. These are the issues that Donald Trump dangled. He's a dangler, but he never did jack crap about any of them. Never raised the minimum wage, never came with a health care plan, never did anything on infrastructure, nothing. He did absolutely nothing for the working people. He didn't do anything on student loans. He didn't do nothing at all. But, I appreciate your idea. I think that is not a bad place to look for winning the Senate majority. And North Carolina is not a bad place to look because they do have a Democratic governor, okay? I looked it up while I was talking to him because I couldn't remember his name either. It's Roy Cooper. Roy Cooper is a Democratic governor in North Carolina. You have 2 Republican senators, and Burr, Burr has his moments of, Republicanism where he'll just repeat any swill that, Trump says. But when it came to issuing reports on the Intelligence Committee, because Burr is the chairman of the Intel Committee, he would not allow Donald Trump to get away with lying about Obama spying with the Obamagate scandal. He wouldn't let Donald Trump get away with any of that swill.
Mary, how does the fall? We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon.
I have a dream today.
Change has come to America.
Believe me. Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show. Turn up your mind.
It's Friday the 13th, you bastards.
CNN can now project Joe Biden has won the state of Georgia, flipping the state red or flipping the red state blue, I should say. Donald Trump has won the state of North Carolina, a major, major development in this historic election. I want to go to David Chalian. David, take us through this.
Yeah, the final 2 states we were able to project, Brianna, because the counties in those states are certifying their county vote totals and sending them into the state. We know in Georgia that there's a hand recount underway, but Joe Biden is the winner of Georgia, 14,152 votes ahead of Donald Trump. 49.5% to 49.2%. No Democrat has won Georgia since 1992. This is a huge victory for the Democrats, a state they've long eyed, like a 10-year-long project to flip this red state blue. And Joe Biden did it with explosive growth in the Atlanta suburban area for the Democratic coalition. Big turnout among African Americans, among women. This is a big prize for the Democrats. And then you noted in North Carolina, Donald Trump is going to hang on to North Carolina. 73,602 votes ahead of Joe Biden. Pretty substantial lead, 50% to 48.6%. Again, we were seeing a majority of the counties reporting in and certifying their vote totals. There is not enough outstanding vote for Joe Biden to come close to overtaking Donald Trump. Therefore, Donald Trump is going to hang on to North Carolina and add its 15 electoral votes to his electoral total. That brings us to Joe Biden at 306 electoral votes. Donald Trump at 232 electoral votes. That is a substantial electoral college victory for Joe Biden. In fact, so substantial, it's precisely the kind of victory that Donald Trump labeled a landslide for himself 4 years ago, because that's how many electoral votes he had, 306. And that is what Joe Biden has. And now you've seen the entire map. Color in red and blue. This is your new map of American politics and will set the table for the 2024 presidential election.
Oh, my God, they're already talking about 2024. Woohoo, it's over. It's over. It's over. Little Lover Boy, for those of you who grew up in the 80s and remember the red leather pants and the crossed fingers. Remember that? Get lucky, everybody. Get lucky. We did get lucky. So it's Friday the 13th. It's Friday the 13th, and we have been living a political version of the Friday the 13th movies. It is just, I just hope there's no sequel. Don't you hope there's no sequel? Because the next sequel, they will have the scary guy wearing an orange mask. You know that. You know that that's true. I always get confused in the Friday the 13th. You know, does the killer wear a white Halloween mask, a hockey mask, or does he paint his face orange? Do you know what I'm saying? Because I think that's the next boogeyman is going to be a big, giant, you know, like pregnant-looking, turtley thing with an orange face, you know, like a combi thing. So anyway, we're done. We're done with the Trump. Well, we're not done with the Trump presidency, but we're done with the election. We're literally done. The Trump presidency, it continues, just like the Friday the 13th movies. Cheaply made, but terrifying. Lots of people die in those movies. And yesterday was no exception. Yesterday we had 160,000 new coronavirus cases, and that was just a week after we broke the 100,000 case per day measurement. So it took us, less than a week to almost double the new cases per day. You got places where the positivity rate is 40%, meaning 1 in every 4 people taking a test and they're coming back positive. You got places where it's 50%. You got places 46%. This is just, it's unbelievable. And Dr. Fauci is telling us we have to double down, and we have to do it now before the virus double downs on us. And they're talking about 500,000 people being dead by the time Trump skedaddles, by the time he leaves. And I just want people to understand, your president, your current president, no longer your current president quit on you. He quit, is what he did. He's a quitter. Not only is he a loser, but he's a quitter. He hasn't said anything in 8 days. Not anything. And in the last 8 days, new cases have gone over 150,000 a day. A day. We have 67,000 people in a hospital right now. 67,000 people, the nurses, the doctors, they are worn out. Some of them are infected themselves, and they're being told they have to go to work anyway. Anyway. Some nurses are considering a 2-day strike because nothing has improved for them. No working conditions have improved. In fact, if anything, they're being told, oh, you have COVID? Too bad. Go to work. They don't know what to do with themselves. It is the saddest, sickest, poorest, weakest place America has been in at least my lifetime, which is a long time now. Long freaking time. Just sad. Unbelievable. But here's how the election finished up. Arizona, as you know, I called Arizona yesterday because 2 other news organizations had called Arizona besides for AP and besides for Fox News. So yesterday I said Arizona is gone, and it's gone to Joe Biden, and it looks like the margin of difference was about 11,000 votes, which is almost identical to the margin of victory Trump had in Wisconsin, 11,000 votes. In Michigan, Donald Trump won by a measly 10,000 votes, okay, just so you know. Georgia just certified 14,152 votes for Joe Biden. That made him the winner. And North Carolina, Trump won by 73,000 votes. So that is the map. It is filled in. This is over. And now they're telling us Donald Trump is going to say something. I don't know what he's going to say. Say something at 4 o'clock today. Who hopes it's a concession speech? Who? Yeah, we all do, because he is literally purging this government. He is burning the whole thing down to the ground so that when Joe Biden comes in and has to clean up after all of this mess, you have people that are in such dire straits financially. You have small businesses that are closing. You have 10 million less jobs than we had when he came in. 10 million less jobs. The economy is much, much weaker. You have sicker people in this country. COVID is spreading unchecked, out of control. And you have lunatic, fringy people, free my face. Free my face. I'm not wearing a mask. It's spreading like wildfire. We're just ahead of a Thanksgiving holiday where people plan to travel, which is scaring me. But you also have 130 Secret Service members. Can you believe this? 130 Secret Service officers have contracted COVID or have to quarantine after all of Donald Trump's super spreader campaign events. And for those of you who don't think they're connected, it's all in the Midwest, okay? It's everywhere Trump went. Everywhere he had one of these super spreader events is where COVID is freaking off the hook, out of control. So the Secret Service agents now have to quarantine because the hot zone for COVID is Donald Trump. David Bossie has it. Corey Lewandowski has it. Some other people you never even heard of in his circle have it. This is just, and now 130 Secret Service agents. Yes, they'll take a bullet for the president. They're not supposed to die because of the president. The president isn't supposed to kill them. I really feel bad for them. You have a president who needlessly put their lives at risk. And the rest of us too. I mean, it's so sad. It's so sick. It's just, at least the Secret Service was exposed in the line of duty, as unnecessary as it was. We didn't volunteer for this. But even if you did volunteer to be a Secret Service agent, did you ever expect that you would be unsafe from the president? That he would be the killer? I mean, it's like I said, it's like a weird freaking movie. And it's about to end, and let's just pray no sequels. None.
All things Randi at RandiRhodes.com.
Go for launch.
Speaking truth to power, the Randi Rhodes Show.
Do we need a national mandate or not?
Yes. Well, we do. If we don't get one, then I would hope that the governors and the mayors do it locally if it's not done nationally.
But Dr. Fauci,
but we need to get
why would it not be done, Fauci?
Yes.
Are you still? Does the president's? Are you still in the president's ear or no? And if so, who? If not, who is?
Well, I haven't spoken to the president in quite a while about the situation with regard to the outbreak. The situation, it is very urgent, and that's the reason why I have been urgently saying every single day that we have got to do things that have not been done uniformly and consistently throughout the country. The numbers that you put up are stunning. This is going to get worse because we're going more into a colder season as we get through the fall and into the winter. With the holiday season going, we've got to do something different. We can't just let this happen. We're going to have many more hospitalizations, and that will inevitably lead to more deaths.
How many more people are we going to watch die? We're almost to 2,000 people a day passing away from COVID alone in a hospital. We're almost to 2,000 people a day. The president today, I'm a little birdie is telling me that the president is going to brag today about his response to COVID. I don't know. He's going to brag today about warp speed. Now, keep in mind that Fauci has just told us that the president does not speak to him any longer, okay? He hasn't spoken to the president in a really long time. Mike Pence, who is the head of the coronavirus task force, he's also AWOL. They have quit on us, and they have decided that they're just going to leave us sick and poor and less safe. And we know that because Donald Trump will not give presidential daily briefings to Joe Biden. We know that because Donald Trump is blocking the National Institutes of Health, NIH, the CDC, from confabbing with the incoming Biden Corona Task Force and a 52-person sort of a landing team separate and apart from Biden's coronavirus task force that is going to coordinate all the responses between all the government agencies. And the president currently of the United States of America refuses to allow the incoming president the information that the National Institutes of Health and the Centers for Disease Control have. He's blocking Health and Human Services as well from confabbing with the incoming Biden administration.
Until the Trump administration actually signs off on this election, which is that ascertainment we've been talking about, the Biden team can't have any interaction with agencies across the government. Meaning, when we're talking about the coronavirus pandemic, they cannot talk to HHS or the CDC or the FDA. And by not having those conversations, it means they're not getting access to critical data that would help them be prepared on day one. And I spoke to several medical experts who say it's not just about being prepared. A big concern that they have is about this vaccine distribution plan. We know that the Biden administration will take over the vaccine distribution from the Trump administration. Experts in this field say they need to be working in tandem constantly in order to make sure this doesn't affect millions or hundreds of millions of people's lives. And right now, the Biden team has no access to any of that. Now, it is important to note that they are working around these roadblocks put in place by the Trump administration. administration. We know that Biden has named a coronavirus task force. They're back channeling with governors. They're talking to the medical community. They are sitting down with everyone they can. But again, still no access to that critical data.
What the hell is wrong with Donald Trump? The man is such a sore loser. He is such a baby man. He is such a toddler. He is such a small thinker. He has no care for this country. He has no care for Americans. He has no care for citizens. He has no care for anybody in this country. And he is such a sore loser that he is literally blocking an incoming administration in the middle of setting world records. We in the United States are setting world records for coronavirus deaths, hospitalizations, and new cases, day after day after day. And this man is blocking the incoming administration from speaking to his doctors, from speaking to the Centers for Disease Control, from speaking to the National Institutes of Health, from speaking to Health and Human Services. Now, of course, the Biden administration, this is why it's important when we say things like ready on day one. This is what it refers to. It refers to Joe Biden being able to understand where to get information without stepping on Donald Trump's transition or toes or whatever it is, or his blood. Do you know what I'm saying? This is so bizarre. Now he's flirting with firing the head of the CIA, Gina Haspel, over some QAnon conspiracy theory that she's sitting on documents, I swear to God, that she's sitting on documents that would reveal the names of the Democrats who drink babies' blood and are running a pedophile sex ring. I swear to God. I swear to God. That's what QAnon is all about. And real humans, a lot of them, are part of this cult. It's freaky. It's dangerous. And they're all going to D.C. tomorrow. It's just bizarro world. I hate doing this because, you don't want to give it any breath. But you have to understand what these freaks think. Now, I know my name is Randi Rhodes, but I ain't the one on the crazy train. This is Stuart Rhodes. No relation, thank God. Talking to Alex Jones about going to D.C. tomorrow.
So what we're doing is we have men already stationed outside D.C. as a nuclear option in case they attempt to remove the president illegally. We will step in and stop it. And we're going to be there to also help secure the coming rally this Saturday and your caravan coming in. So I've got good men on the ground already. We've did a lead recon there last week, and we're sorting out where we're going to be staging, and we'll be there. We'll be inside D.C. We'll also be on the outside of D.C. armed, prepared to go in if the president calls us out.
Stuart, can you not feel history happening right now? I mean, it's happening right now.
It is, and we all need to realize that we're Americans. We're born in this country at this time for this purpose. We need to let go of the fear,
I don't have fear. I have a concern about what is the right thing to do. My God, there's so many options here.
Oh, I know. I'm preaching to the choir on that, right? So you and I are like that. But there's so many Americans out there that they've been timid in the past and afraid. You got to let go of your fears. Look, just as Americans from across the country stormed up to Bundy Ranch to stand up for a rancher's family, you need to go to Washington, D.C. with the same conviction.
I was about to say, this is a commie Chi-Com takeover with an admitted Chinese agent. You better get your ass to D.C., folks, this Saturday.
Yeah, that's what
if you don't, there'll be no more republic. But we're not going to let that happen. It's not even an if. It's either President Trump is encouraged and bolstered and strengthened to do what he must do, or we wind up in a bloody fight. We all know that. The fight's coming.
Now, I'm all for free speech, but that's inciting violence. Period. End of story. That is Crazy Train Rhodes. Not me, Stuart Rhodes. There's more. He tells Alex Jones why, all the viewers have to, arm themselves and go to D.C., and it's because of a pedophile sex ring that's being suppressed.
Call in, connect. To speak to Randi, call 561-270-3844. 561-270-3844.
Okay, everybody, here's some crazy pants, crap.
Why would Biden announce the economy will be more shut down? Why are they just want to break them? I mean, they give us no quarter. They give us no quarter.
Well, they're arrogant, and so that's okay. Use that to wake up your fellow Americans. Here, look, the secrets that the deep state holds on people, all the pedophile stings, all the sex prostitution stings, all of this is how they control everybody. That is the swamp water the swamp creatures swim in, is the dirty secrets.
Oh, it's like when they planted child porn on my office. We never opened it. They said, oh, it's time to meet with us and roll over. I said, war. I attacked them. They burned to hell. What? Exactly. Right. It's all made up crap. Stuart Rhodes, more comments from you. Ann Owen Schroyer on the road, headed to Tallahassee.
What is wrong with these people? I mean, honestly, it's pedophile rings and sex rings and prostitution rings. Why don't you just look at your own president first? Look at your president who said that he likes to inspect 15-year-olds naked at the Miss Teen USA pageant. Look at the president who said that if Ivanka wasn't his daughter, he would sleep with her. Look at his friends, Jeffrey Epstein. Look at his other friend, Ghislaine Maxwell. Look at all the photographs. What are they talking about? These people are bat crap crazy, but they're dangerous. You know, this guy, these are former law enforcement officers. That's who this is the Oath Keepers. And I've been talking to them for years. They never make any sense. I don't know what they took an oath to, but it wasn't our Constitution. It's like they took an oath to their gun. You know, it's like, I love my gun. This is my rifle. This is my gun. You figure out which one they're in love with. But it's so sick. It's so sad. And you've got a congressman from Virginia. He just lost his election. Why? He's a Republican from Virginia, and he just lost his election, Denver Riggleman, because he doesn't play footsie with these people. Okay? And he was interviewed about what is going on with these freaking QAnon conspiracy, pedophile, sex ring things.
I think when you see what happened in 2016 and now in 2020, people keep, the conspiracy theories, these just sort of bizarre alternate realities that people are living in is starting to contribute to really, I think, this, dissolution of reason. And whether it's QAnon or whether it's Sharpie Gate, which is ludicrous, I'm almost out of pithy things to say, buddy. The last thing I said, I'm like, are these people who think the Lord of the Rings is a documentary? I mean, I don't get it, right? So you have Sharpie Gate, you have the watermarks, you have ballot burning, and now you have this bizarre, ridiculous conspiracy theory. And a lot of this is QAnon umbrella stuff, as you know. But this, from Steve Bannon, and I think it was, who was it, General, retired 3-star, that NSA is manipulating ballots, electronic voting. That really is I think the island of the misfit toys at that point. You have crossed the Rubicon, you've jumped on the crazy train, and you're headed into the cliffs that, guard the flat earth at that time, brother.
Oh my God. Okay, so they think Lord of the Flies is a documentary, and we're down the rabbit hole with these people. It's really freaky. It's very unnerving. It's very mind-blowing how they found their way on social media to pretend that this is like a real thing. This QAnon, Democrats drink the blood of children. They smell like sulfur. They're satanic, and we're running sex rings and pedophile. I honestly, I mean, and this Chi-Com thing, right, where Biden is a Chi-Com. He's a self-admitted Chi-Com agent. Steve Bannon, who was arrested for fraud for a charity called We Build the Wall, where he stole $1 million from small donors who are in this group, was arrested on a Chinese billionaire's yacht. That's really fact checkable. That's like really something you could know. But somehow Biden is the one that plays footsie with the Chinese communists. Ivanka Trump got, I can't even tell you how many, multiples of 10, maybe hundreds of copyright, Chinese copyright trademarks while her father was president and she was a senior advisor in the White House. What is wrong with you people? It's like, It's like we're through the looking glass, okay? It's really amazing. And Riggleman says, it's getting scary. It's really getting scary. He just lost his congressional seat in this last election.
Here's what scares me. If I do a poll in my district and say, really good poll, it's an expensive one, and 50%, this is real, by the way, 50% of people who support President Trump believe that QAnon is real, or they believe this. They believe there is a cabal in the Democratic Party that drinks blood, right? Or that. It's
so a real poll found 50% of people in your district?
No, this is countrywide. You go ahead to Numbers Crunchers. There's some other polls there, about 50%, right, of the people they polled. Now, it could be 20, right? It could be 30. Validate me, but I'm right. I wouldn't tell you that if I didn't know that poll. Validate that. But even if it's 20%, even if it's 30%, how does somebody like me who knows the dangers of that stay in a party, even though I'm a free market guy, I think I'm a constitutional Republican, there is no way that I'm going to stay in a party where a baseline theory that starts with an anti-Semitic tropes or a base is something that's being spread by people who are running for office or people that vote that way. I just can't do it. And I think you're going to find other people that way too. And by the way, I haven't made a whole lot of friends in the QAnon community. I don't know if that might surprise you. But when I say stuff like QAnon has the same number of letters as moron, it makes people angry. But what I'm trying to do is I am trying to bring attention to it. And by the way, I've had friends and family who've been very angry with me and people I did not expect. And I've actually probably lost some people over this. And I think that's the other thing you're going to see. This is a cult. And it's something that is spreading. And anybody who tries to diminish it, I think there's a couple of reasons they might. Number one, they're ignorant of it. Number two, they are just pandering without believing it. Or number three, they believe it. And if it's any of those three, probably should disqualify you for public office.
I agree. This thing is out of control. And I know that those of us who live in the real world here, those of us who read newspapers, those of us who actually follow politics, show up at our town halls, people who actually campaign, or people who pay attention at least, or vote and, research their ballot, whatever. This is so bizarre, right? But when you're in a bubble of reality, which is really where we are, we're in the real world, you sort of have a tough time understanding that there are millions of people in this country, multiple millions of people in this country who listen to crap like Alex Jones. Fox News is their Bible. They never read a newspaper. They watch One America News Network. They are lied to constantly. They are fed cult-like behavior. They've been asked to die for the dear leader, and they've said yes. Like I said, the Secret Service, it was part of their professional duty. These people, no. They're in a death cult, and they need to be deprogrammed. Seriously. And the only thing that'll do it is truth.
This is the Randi Rhodes Show. To speak with Randi, dial 561-270-3844. That's 561-270-3844.
What are these false claims of widespread election fraud doing to our country right now?
They appear to be motivated in part because the president doesn't like to lose and never admits loss. I'm more troubled by the fact that other Republican officials who clearly know better are going along with this, are humoring him in this fashion. It is one more step in delegitimizing not just the incoming Biden administration, but democracy generally. And that's a dangerous path.
He says it so calmly because he's calm, because he's gifted with a brain that can analyze the lay of the land, right? But it's very dangerous. It's bizarrely dangerous. Not only do we have 70 million Americans that voted for the same man this same man that did nothing, absolutely nothing in the face of a global pandemic, did absolutely nothing for a second stimulus package, that did absolutely nothing on infrastructure, that did absolutely nothing on a health plan that he promised, from day one, right? Nothing. We built 12 miles of new barrier on the southern border and claimed victory on his promise that he was going to build a big, beautiful wall in Mexico, was going to pay for it. He stole the money from soldiers, sailors, airmen and Marines, and funneled it, probably, if the Supreme Court had a crack at it, illegally, from what Congress intended the money be spent on to his pet project, the wall. And then his former campaign manager, Steve Bannon, gets arrested on a Chinese billionaire's yacht for defrauding the American people by saying that they were going to build the wall and to give him money, and he stole $1 million. And people still voted for this guy. We're in deep trouble. We really are. Now, Obama's got a new book out, and I swear to God, I of course pre-ordered it. There's excerpts from it in the Atlantic magazine, and there's also some audio of him reading the preface. It's called A Promised Land, and it does question whether or not equality in the United States is a myth or whether it's something that is achievable, but how bizarre and how terrible a position we've been left in. And he wrote it before the election even happened. But here's what he says in the preface of the book.
Beyond the struggle to put words on a page, what I didn't fully anticipate was the way events would unfold during the 3.5 years after that last flight on Air Force One. As I sit here, the country remains in the grips of a global pandemic and the accompanying economic crisis, with more than 178,000 Americans dead, businesses shuttered, and millions of people out of work. Across the nation, people from all walks of life have poured into the streets to protest the deaths of unarmed black men and women at the hands of the police. Perhaps most troubling of all, our democracy seems to be teetering on the brink of crisis. A crisis rooted in a fundamental contest between two opposing visions of what America is and what it should be. A crisis that has left the body politic divided, angry, and mistrustful, and has allowed for an ongoing breach of institutional norms, procedural safeguards, and the adherence to basic facts that both Republicans and Democrats once took for granted.
I mean, he gets it. Obviously, he gets it. And I'm telling you right now that the birtherism that made it impossible for Obama to govern, the obstructionism by the Republican Party to make him a one-term president, which is what Mitch McConnell's stated goal was the day that Obama got elected, right? All of the obstruction on everything from judges to, fixing things that were needing to be fixed in the American Recovery Act, which was too small by half. And that's why growth was so slow. We did get good job creation, but not as fast as we could have. If the Republicans gave a damn about the situation that Americans found themselves in after the crash of 2008 that the Republicans enabled. Okay? And so they're doing it again, is basically the whole message here. The Republicans are determined to delegitimize Joe Biden before he even becomes the 46th president of the United States. They did it to Obama, and they're going to do it again. Now, they can't play the race card as evil and as heavily as they did against Obama, but they can do it with Kamala, and they intend to. They intend to obstruct everything, and this is the problem. The problem is that right at this moment, the Republicans are guaranteed 50 seats in the Senate. Okay, the Democrats have 48. We have 2 Senate races, as you know. And part of the reason the Republicans are very late to the game to congratulate Joe Biden is because they want Trump's voters. And they don't want to say anything to Trump's voters when Trump's voters believe that the election was stolen, that Democrats are pedophiles, that Democrats drink blood, that Democrats are concealing the fact that Joe Biden is a Chinese communist agent, when it's plainly in front of their face that Ivanka did business with China while she was a senior advisor to the president, and that Bannon was caught committing fraud on a Chinese billionaire's yacht. I mean, it's so bizarre. But the reason they allow it, the reason why some of them even promote it, the reason why they won't congratulate Joe Biden is because they don't want to lose the Trump voters by telling them the hard truth. So what does that mean? It means the Republican Party has zero statesmen and they're full of cowards. That whole party is a cowardly party. That whole party, there's not one single solitary, decent, courageous American willing to risk his reelection to tell the Americans who believe in this ridiculous nonsense that this was a free and fair election, that it was probably the best run election in all 50 states that we've ever seen in the middle of a pandemic, that there is no intelligence about Democrats drinking the blood of children. Oh my God, I can't even believe I have to say this, but you do. You do. And that America voted to move forward. That America literally showed up in almost record numbers. You know, we haven't seen numbers like this since 1908, all right? And Americans showed up in record numbers because we were sick of this, because we wanted progress. And now we're sitting here with, guess what? A trip down memory lane. Divided government. Mitch McConnell could be the majority leader yet again and be the impediment to progress, along with his friends Ted Cruz and Marco Rubio and the whole slew of lunatic fringy guys who let Donald Trump call their wives ugly, let Donald Trump say their dad killed JFK, let Donald Trump call them little Marco, let Donald Trump say that you're ugly, like Rand Paul. He could do 20 minutes on Rand Paul's face, insinuate that they have small penises, and they're fine with it as long as they don't lose Trump's voters, even though they're going to lose Trump. And let me tell you something. Here's what's got to happen. Donald Trump has to be indicted for many crimes. Obstruction of justice. There's 10 different obstruction charges in the Mueller report, okay? There's also perjury in the Mueller report. There's also tax fraud and insurance fraud. There's also bank fraud. There may be money laundering. I don't know. I'm not aware of what the Attorney General of New York or the District Attorney has on him. But trust me, these Republicans, they are going to start rooting, truly, privately, for Donald Trump to be arrested, to end the madness. They're going to come and, I mean, I don't know that they'll stand up and say anything until after he's adjudicated, right? One way or the other. But they are going to secretly wish that he would die in jail and just go away so that they could have a shot at explaining this or showing it. They won't explain it, and show it to the Trump supporters, right? In the meantime, we have to take the Senate, and there are several ways to do it. That's where we left off yesterday. I researched it.
Mary, how does the lamb? We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America. From radio beacon to radio beacon. I have a dream today.
Change has come to America.
Believe it. Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show. Turn up your mind.
All right, so here's what we're doing. We're waiting for Donald Trump. See that picture there? That's the Rose Garden. It's live on my screen. He's late. He's the only president that was ever late for Veterans Day, because we celebrate Veterans Day at a specific time, 11 o'clock in the morning, for a specific reason. He was late for that. So anyway, everybody's waiting for him to speak publicly for the first time since he's become a loser. But in the meantime, I just wanted to tell you that yesterday when we left off, we had a really interesting phone call from a guy who was suggesting something that I said, you know, I appreciate what you're saying. I just don't know where we could pull from. He was suggesting that in states where there is a Democratic governor, but a Republican senator or two, that we don't just make the play for Georgia for Warnock and Ossoff, and we're going to Warnock or Ossoff for those 2 Senate seats in Georgia, which was called today, as you know, for Joe Biden by 14,000 votes, which means we could possibly win both Senate races in Georgia that are held on the same day, January 5th. But that's not the only route. This caller was explaining that he had heard this idea on Tom Hartman's show from a caller to Tom. And that goes something like this. Joe Biden expressed that he wants his cabinet to look like America. Well, America has 72 million Republicans that voted in this last election in it. 77 million of us, but 72 million Republicans. And so if Joe Biden is signaling that he's going to pick some Republican or some Republicans for various positions in his administration to make it look like America, why not go shopping for that Republican in states where there's a Democratic governor who would then be able to nominate a Democrat to take that Republican's Senate seat? Well, I loved the idea, but I wasn't sure in the last seconds of the show yesterday when I went to his call, what states could we look at? What states could we possibly pull from? Well, I got so much email from people. Thank you so much. You know, I answered you. If you wrote me, I wrote you back. So thank you. I really appreciate some of the research that you guys did. The best suggestion, there's lots of suggestions, as it turns out. There are lots of states that are in this position with Democratic governors and at least a Republican senator. I'll go through the list, but my favorite one was Maine. My favorite one was Maine. Why? Because as shocking as it is that Susan Collins, a Republican, is going back to serve in the Senate after this Kavanaugh BS and after the disappointing performance of standing up to Donald Trump that she has displayed to her voters. Apparently, she knows her state really well and was able to secure a victory for herself and will go back to the Senate as a Republican. Turns out, Maine's got themselves a Democratic governor. Her name's Janet T. Mills. Not exactly a name that trips off the tongue. Learn it. I learned it last night from somebody who sent it to me. Janet Mills is a Democratic governor in Maine, and Susan Collins is a Republican senator who could easily be given some sort of cabinet position. Now, I went through all the cabinet positions, and I don't know which one you think she would be great for, but, you know, we do have, I don't think Secretary of State. I don't think Treasury, definitely not DOJ, Justice, not Defense. We do have Interior, Agriculture, Labor, Health and Human Services. We have Housing and Urban Development. We have Transportation. Transportation is where I wrote her name in. I don't know why. I just felt like that. So I wrote her name in. We have Energy, no. Education, no, want a teacher. Veterans Affairs, Homeland Security, Environmental Protection Agency, Management and Budget, Trade Rep, Ambassador to the United Nations. I wrote her name in there too. Council of Economic Advisors, Small Business Administration, you know, lots of cabinet positions to fill. Just saying, that's one state. Here are the other states. And you'll tell me if I missed one, because if you live in one and I missed it, I would love to know, okay? So here are the states with Democratic governors that have at least a Republican senator who will be in the next Senate. So Montana, right? Montana has governor. Hey. Could you get out and close the door? Thank you. So Montana has Steve Bullock as governor. Now, he tried to run for Senate, but he lost to Steve Daines, right? Who had one term. So Steve Daines is a Republican. But Governor Steve Bullock is a Democrat, and he's still the governor. Pennsylvania, they have a Democratic governor, Tom Wolf. And we have Pat Toomey, who is a Republican senator from the state of Pennsylvania. Maybe Pat Toomey is interested in one of these jobs at Commerce or Labor or Housing. I don't know. You know, this is why Joe Biden is such a great pick for president. Joe Biden knows Pat Toomey. Joe Biden knows what he's interested in. Joe Biden would know the kind of thing that might make Pat Toomey not want to run for re-election, but would rather have a nice, secure 8-year job doing something in the administration. I don't know what Pat Toomey's really interested in. Maybe somebody from Pennsylvania is very deeply familiar with Pat Toomey's interests. But I know Joe Biden would know. So there's one. Of course, I just mentioned Maine. Joe Biden would know what Susan Collins is interested in. I know her husband's a lobbyist, so I don't know. I don't know what his area is. Probably taxes or something like that, because that's mostly what they do. Kentucky has a Democratic governor. They got Andy Beshear over there in Kentucky. But you do have Mitch McConnell. Now, maybe if Mitch can see that he'd be a minority leader because he's picked off a couple of senators, or lost Georgia, maybe Mitch would like to, be Treasury or some other thing. I don't know. And then you got idiot boy Rand Paul. I don't know. He's a doctor who doesn't believe in using a mask. Okay, put him in charge of Health and Human Services. No, I'm kidding. Let's skip over Kentucky. That's not a great place to mine. Also, Louisiana, not a great place to mine. Why? Because you've got a Democratic governor in Louisiana. I didn't realize all these people, I know their names. I just couldn't connect it yesterday. But doing this was such a good exercise. You should try it. Anyway, in Louisiana, we have Democratic Governor John Bel Edwards. But we've got John Kennedy, the lunatic, fringy senator from Louisiana. But maybe he could be tempted with something. I don't know. I'm not sure. We had Bill Cassidy. I don't know. I don't know. See, this is why Biden would be important, because Biden would know what they're interested in. Kansas has a Democratic governor. Laura Kelly, Democratic governor. And there, I think, is ripe for the picking. Because Kansas is an agricultural state. We got the Department of Agriculture. We got the Department of Interior. And you have Senator Pat Roberts and Senator Jerry Moran. And both of them are Republicans. But you have Laura Kelly, the Democratic governor. Now, North Carolina is a non-starter, and I brought it up yesterday because you do have Democratic Governor Pat Cooper, whose name I could not recall till I looked it up. But they have a strange rule with regard to who the governor can pick to replace a senator. And that rule states that the governor has to pick somebody of the same party as the leaving, exiting, or transferring senator. So North Carolina is a non-starter. Also, Louisiana and Kentucky are non-starters. So we have several states, though, that are in play.
All things Randy at RandyRhodes.com.
Go for launch.
Speaking truth to power, the Randi Rhodes Show.
All right, we're still waiting for the Orange Menace to step up to the microphone. It's just unbelievable. But all right, John in California. Hi, happy Friday the 13th. Or not. Fred in Connecticut.
Yes.
May I help you?
Hello?
Hello.
Yes, the Republican, have they changed their ways since the Civil War?
What are you talking about now?
Republicans haven't did nothing for the country since the Civil War.
What are you talking about now?
Republicans is not did.
Carol in California.
Hi, this is Carol in Wisconsin.
Oh, okay.
This is the happiest day of my life, this Friday the 13th. After 36 years of being with my partner, we got married today.
Oh!
And we have no one to share it with. We met some lovely people here that married us, and the reason we had to wait 36 years is because I know we got marriage equality like 5 years ago, but the thing that prevented us was the Supreme Court decision about our victory in June to secure our employment, and since we're of retirement ages, we were still fearful of the employment situation.
So
we were finally able to get married. 36 years, Randy. I'm so happy.
That's lovely.
I can't believe I lived this long.
Where are you?
I can't believe I lived this long to see this.
Where are you registered?
I'm registered in Milwaukee County.
No, I mean for wedding gifts.
Oh, no. Wait. My family, they're in favor of LGBTQ rights as long as it doesn't interfere with religious freedom. So we didn't have anybody at our wedding. We met lovely people from the MCC church, a lovely pastor who married us. 2 men we had never met before in our life stood up for us. It was just the 5 of us today in a church, and we got married.
Well, I'm very excited for you. I'm very happy for you, but I really think that you ought to go to the Knot and register for wedding gifts, and that way we can send you things.
Oh, no, that's okay.
Yes.
My gift is my partner, and that's all I've ever wanted.
Stop it. No, who doesn't want a blender? Who doesn't want...
After 36 years, I think I have one in stock.
Oh, you have no idea what they do now. You really don't. And
I probably don't, seriously.
You need
I mean, we go to the Goodwill.
No, you need a Ninja Foodie. Come on. Go register and then drop me a line at info@Randi Rhodes, and we'll spread the word that you need wedding gifts.
Oh, you're so generous.
No.
I'm just so happy. But I wanted to let you know, too, the laws never stopped our love. We have loved each other all these times, no matter what the law is. But we are thrilled that we can make it legal. We can get our financial house in order, etc. You know, the 1,200 rights that heterosexuals take for granted, we finally have.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Well, congratulations to you. What's your partner's name?
She's still a little shy about coming out. We'll call her Mary because we're still a little watching her. Still a little,
Mary.
Watching our backs a little bit. Still, she didn't want to come out on the radio, but so we'll just say that. But I'll tell you in the email. I'm so excited.
Okay. All right. Well, tell your partner. There's nothing to be afraid of. We all support you falling in love and getting married, because that is what people do.
36 years. I told her we can go to a more blue area. We don't have to be afraid anymore. Let's be ourselves and just go move forward and enjoy more freedom. We're retired now and looking forward to a life.
That's great. That's great. Thanks.
So happy Friday the 13th.
Yeah, you too. It turns out that it's a lucky day because they called the election. You got married. This is beautiful.
Yes, and we love you, Randy. You do so much for our community. The entire nation, everybody. And we love you so much.
I love you more. Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Carol.
Thank you.
Yep. Oh, that's sweet. That's really good. Bill in California.
Yeah, I'm calling about the Electoral College.
All right.
My reading of things is those guys can vote however they want. So all Trump has to do is get in there and influence enough of them, and he's president again for 4 years. The people don't elect the president. The Electoral College elects the president. That is really, actually, honestly, the way it works.
Yeah, but they can't vote for whoever they want. Okay, the Supreme Court.
Why not?
Because the Supreme Court said so.
I read that ruling, and it does not say can't. It says can. It doesn't say will not or must not. It says they can.
It says the state can fine them. The state can replace them. It says a whole lot of things. about faithless electors. The only state that isn't mentioned, by the way, is Georgia. That's an interesting one.
Well, I heard Mitch McConnell and Pompeo prominently talk about electors as though they knew something. You know, it was just this little comment.
Yeah,
wait for the electors. Wait for the electors. They know something, and I hope I'm wrong, and I hope you're right. I pray that I'm wrong.
You are wrong. But
thank you.
Okay.
I feel better.
All right, good. Yeah. Michael in the Bronx.
Hey, Sister Randi.
Hey, brother.
What's up?
You
know something? Oh, and you too. You know, you always rock it. Let me say that I don't know about you, but I've had up to here with Trump's lies and the false claims of the election was rigged. As of an hour ago, I heard that Nevada wins.
I'm sorry, I have to cut you short. He's on.
Many countries with their ventilators and all of the problems they were having, and I'd like to congratulate everyone involved in this effort. It's been an incredible effort. As a result of Operation Warp Speed, Pfizer announced on Monday that its China virus vaccine is more than 90% effective. This far exceeds any and all expectations. Nobody thought they'd get to that level. And we have others coming which we think will be at equal level, maybe more if that's possible. In July, my administration reached an agreement with Pfizer to provide $1.95 billion to support the mass manufacturing and distribution of 100 million doses, with the option to purchase a total of 600 million doses shortly thereafter. Our investment will make it possible for the vaccine to be provided by Pfizer free of charge. Pfizer said it wasn't part of Warp Speed, but that turned out to be a unfortunate misrepresentation.
Oh,
they
really?
Are part. That's why we gave them the $1.95 billion, and it was an unfortunate mistake that they made when they said that.
Really?
We will work to secure an emergency use authorization, which should be coming down extremely soon.
All right.
And my administration will then coordinate.
Yeah, you don't have an administration. So the bird in my ear was right. It was all about warp speed. He's saying Pfizer, who has said that they were not part of Operation Warp Speed, they lied. And I don't know. So now we have to research that. Because he's speaking. You see what I mean? It's like fact-checking again. Damn it.
Call in, connect. To speak to Randi, call 561-270-3844. 561-270-3844.
All right, he already lied. It's every time this pie hole opens, lies come out of it. Okay, so here's the deal with the Pfizer. You go, oh, they lied. They were part of Operation Warp Speed, Pfizer was. No. Pfizer was not part of Operation Warp Speed. The government told Pfizer that if they come up with a vaccine, because Pfizer did not take any money from the U.S. government in Operation Warp Speed, but the government told all the manufacturers of vaccines that if they come up with one, our government will buy $1.95 billion worth of those vaccines in order to give them to people here for free. So I can't stay. We have to listen because I just want to hear him concede if he does. I doubt it.
Helping the rest of the world with ventilators.
Oh,
Because
ventilators. Oh, God,
We're
really?
producing them thousands of ventilators a month. The federal government has 22,000 beds immediately available for states and jurisdictions that need additional capacity. But we think that it's going to start going down, possibly very quickly. We'll see what happens. But with the vaccine, you'll see numbers going down within a matter of months, and they'll go down very rapidly. As we continue to combat the virus, our economy is rebounding far beyond any expectations. I see the stock market's up almost 400 points today again, and it's ready to break the all-time record. Our jobs records are incredible. The job numbers are incredible. In the last 6 months, we've created over 13 million jobs and slashed the unemployment rate
them back
by more than half.
Oh my God!
Last quarter, we witnessed the fastest economic growth ever recorded in the history of our country, 33.1%. It's a number that is
okay. All right, I just no. I mean, I can't. I can't. We did not create any new jobs. Okay, these were jobs that people went back to when states reopened. Didn't create any. We're 10 million jobs less today than when he took office. 10 million jobs. The 33, I told you again, the 33 point whatever, GDP, I explained it to you a million times, okay? We lost 33% of GDP. We lost. So I explained it to you with the $100 bill. If you had a $100 bill and you lost 33% of it, you would have $67 left. If that $67 then grew by 33%, you would still be in the hole for what you had when you had the $100. Okay? That is the real math. This is sick. He just cannot stop. He can't stop. The man went AWOL. He quit on America because of his fragile ego. He knows he lost this election and he wanted to come out and he's dying to say something to somebody. And so he's standing there and he's lying about this fabulous economy, which sucks. Okay? 8 million more people are in poverty today than were a year ago. 10 million less jobs than when he came to be the president of the United States. GDP did not grow by 33%. We lost 33% because of COVID. That put us at $67 on our $100. And if your $67 then grows by 33%, you still are in the hole. Pfizer was not part of Operation Warp Speed. The government said they wanted Pfizer to be, and Pfizer said, no, we don't. They're a German company. They don't want to take any money from the U.S. government. So the deal was that whoever comes up with a vaccine, the U.S. government would buy $1.95 million worth of vaccine. He's lying. I'm so sick of it. And he's lying while cases have gone from 100,000 a day in just one short week where he was AWOL to 160,000 new cases a day. A day. We lost almost 2,000 people yesterday. Almost 2,000 people died. And he's giving himself a pat on the back. Holy crap. Leroy in Maryland.
Hey, how you doing, Randy?
Hey.
Love you to death.
Thank you.
I've been listening to you for a long time, but I had to call in today because I heard, this thing with the senators going into the cabinet, and I don't understand what the incentive would be for them to do that, because the GOP is going to spend about $1 billion in Georgia to retain the majority. So why would the Republicans give up the majority? And then, secondly, most Republicans are followers. So wouldn't Susan Collins and the other guys be shunned from the party? I'm just a little, confused. So maybe you can help me out.
Oh, so, it's up to the individual, right? I mean, if Susan Collins feels like, it's a better deal for her to be in the administration than it is to be in the Senate, why wouldn't she go? The Republican Party left her, really. I mean, she was forced to vote for a guy who she knew was an abuser of women and a drunk, right? I mean, we all know Kavanaugh is a drunk. He likes beer, whatever, and he lied under oath during his own confirmation hearing. I mean, if she's had enough, why wouldn't she want to go to the administration? Why wouldn't she? And there's talk now that Angus King, who is the independent senator from Maine, that Biden is considering him for an intelligence position, maybe even the DNI position. Angus King is an independent, right? So he may caucus with the Democrats, but they don't get do they get counted with us or not? I don't know. That's a good question.
But I know that they vote. But what I'm saying is that with the fact that the Republican Party, and especially Susan Collins, they've been down to Trump because they don't want to be shunned and they want to be a part of it. So I don't understand what would her incentive be, and has she given any indication that she's tied to the Republican Party? Is that something I missed?
So, like I said, if the job is a good job in the administration and she feels like going, why wouldn't she go? I mean, honestly. Pat Toomey, from Pennsylvania, if he feels like it's a great job in the administration, why wouldn't he go? Same thing with, Pat Roberts or Jerry Moran from Kansas. Maybe they want to be in agriculture. Maybe they like being Secretary of Agriculture. Maybe they feel like they could do more as Secretary of Ag than they can as, one of 100.
Well, I can understand that because maybe you're right, but they have shown no character. No empathy. No compassion for the average man. And if they went into Joe Biden's cabinet, wouldn't there be conflict with the way that they think and the way that Joe Biden thinks?
But Joe Biden said that he's willing to work with Republicans. Joe Biden is the guy who always crosses the aisle. Joe Biden is the one who said he's going to make his cabinet look like America. Well, America includes, as we just learned, 70 million Trump voters.
Okay, I got that, but upstairs there are other Republicans. What I'm a little bit confused is Susan Collins just went through a big fight, spent a whole lot of money, and
not
the other
money.
ones too.
It's not her money. Seriously, dude, it's not her money. She just goes in fundraisers, and that's a tough slog too. I've been to a million fundraisers. They have them breakfast, lunch, dinner. I don't think you get that it's not just dialing for dollars, and that you have to leave the Senate in order to do it. It's a raising money is a full-time job. Maybe she's done with it. Maybe she doesn't want to do it anymore. Other Republican senators might feel the same. I don't know. We'll have to see.
This is the Randi Rhodes Show. To speak with Randi, dial 561-270-3844. That's 561-270-3844.
Oh, my God. Friday the 13th went really, 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 really fast. The election is over. Donald Trump still hasn't conceded. He's in the Rose Garden right now with General Gustav Perna, who is the CEO of Operation Warp Speed. He's a uniformed military dude. He lied so early in his appearance today that I just can't pay any attention to him, and he's not going to concede. That is not going to happen. I remember somebody called I don't know how many weeks ago and said, is Donald Trump going to be the first president that refuses to concede? And I said yes, and that seems to be the case. It just does. Donald Trump is blocking the incoming Biden administration from having any contact with the National Institutes of Health, with HHS, with Center for Disease Control, CDC. This is just so sick. This is so sick and twisted. And all he wanted to do today was open his pie hole and take credit for Operation Warp Speed, which is about vaccine development. And the one company that announced, and we don't know if how exuberant to be about Pfizer's news, because Pfizer's news is a press release. It's not peer-reviewed. However, it does seem to be good news, let's put it that way, that the vaccine that Pfizer seems to have has 90% efficacy, meaning it's better than the flu vaccine that we currently have. The flu vaccine that we currently have gives you 50% protection from the flu. But they say that theirs targets the protein that's in the coronavirus, cell, the spiky cell, and that it actually creates antibodies that defeats it, and it works 90% of the time. Well, that's great news. But they are not part of Donald Trump's Operation Warp Speed, and they were very clear that they were not. And then he tried to take credit for the stock market again, which is weird because the news that's making its way around the world is that Donald Trump is not going to be president of the United States of America come January 20th, 2021. So I don't know what the hell he's talking about. And then he bragged about how great this economy is when it really blows. So I just can't. I can't listen to it anymore. Mike in Milwaukee.
Hey, Randy, how you doing?
Hey.
Hey, long-time listener. I've called you before. But
yeah, I thought so.
I know I'm going to get pushback on this from you, but I'm calling a pushback because your caller kind of hit me to something, and while I was waiting, I quick looked it up, and Obama did have Republicans in his cabinet. I remember LaHood because of the high-speed rail that they wanted to build here in Wisconsin, and Walker wanted to take that money for highway, and LaHood told him, no, you couldn't have that money for that purpose. So I know that This has happened before with Obama, but I cannot see any of these Republicans that are in Congress right now leaving the party to go and join Joe Biden. I know what you're saying. In a different time that might make sense, but right now I just cannot see it. These folks, just think of how they're treating. Just think of how they're treating Biden right now. That they won't congratulate this man when they know the writing is on the wall. And Mitch McConnell has got his boot on their throats. And if
so
they're
that's what I'm
to,
saying. Maybe they're tired of it. Maybe they want to be free. Maybe they want to get rid of the yoke. Maybe they want to.
So then what you're saying, your position is once they go with Biden, then let's say if he doesn't get elected again the next 4 years, or let's say if he does, after his 8 years, then they're done with politics. They're out. They're getting away from the game after that because they can't come back and be Republicans. Not with these nut jobs.
But nobody goes like from Secretary of Agriculture like Tom Vilsack. Nobody goes back and runs for election. What they do is they go to a lobby shop. That's what they do. They become a lobbyist on the issue that they were, the secretary of. That's kind of the way the revolving door works. They don't go run for the Senate again.
All right. I just can't see it. I mean, I saw how the way these folks are acting and how they're acting right now, and I'm like, it just for some reason I can't connect those two dots in my head right now. I mean, the way that they're acting. I mean, even the guy from Oklahoma, he came out and said, okay, if they don't give Biden his briefings today, then he's going to step forward. And then all of a sudden he corrected himself in that now. Now he's changed his course. And I'm like, what is with these folks? There's not a brave soul in that bunch. So who's going to step out there knowing that they will, I guess, if they don't have to run again, obviously they could probably do it. But I was going to say, knowing that they can meet the wrath of those 72 million.
They won't run again. They won't run again.
I just don't see it.
They won't run again.
Okay.
They won't. The only person that I'm aware of that has, goes from an administrative job to this, to run again for something. They run for president. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Nikki Haley, right? She was governor. Then she went to work for the Trump administration. Then she was forced to resign, right? Because, and now she'll probably run in 2024. That's my best bet.
All right, I'll be watching.
But the Secretary of Agriculture or the Secretary of Education, Labor, they don't run for the Senate. They don't, like Robert Reich doesn't run for the Senate. You know what I mean? Crazy lady, what's her face for our education secretary now, Betsy DeVos. I mean, she's nutty enough to try something, but no.
Okay.
Because she hasn't accomplished anything. I mean, maybe there are some people that have had it with Mitch McConnell. Maybe there are some Republicans, that are ready to, not run again. Toomey's never going to run again. He's done, right? So maybe he wants a nice cabinet job. Maybe that's what he's into right now. Pat Toomey from Pennsylvania, that would be just beautiful, right? Like I said, Senator Pat Roberts from Kansas. He's an older gentleman. Maybe he would like to be Secretary of Agriculture. Maybe he's, suited for that. I think Jerry Moran would be interested in something with defense. I don't know. It just, like I said, Joe Biden would know what they're interested in. Mike in Pennsylvania.
Oh, yes, Randy. Pat Toomey announced a couple of weeks ago that he was not going to run for re-election.
That's right.
And the other item I would like to address is this possible vaccine is not going to be effective worldwide because of the conditions that it has to be transferred in.
Oh, well, they created their own boxes. Pfizer actually created, these cold boxes because they were aware of the shipping requirements. I think it's like 96 degrees below zero, some crazy number of freezing, right? So
it's not going to work in Africa.
Well, they built their own boxes to distribute these vaccines in
for 6 billion people.
But as far as distribution, yes, that's a logistical nightmare. I mean, it's just
it'll never happen.
I think it will happen, but it won't happen like people think. Oh, well, we are an emergency use authorization, and now all of a sudden it's at your pharmacy. It doesn't work like that. And you're talking, the vaccine and the vaccine itself is a double dose. It's a two-step thing. So you have to get 2 doses. So you're talking about just in America, 300 million doses, okay? 300 million doses times 2, because you need 2 doses, 600 million. And I don't know what the time frame is between doses. Like, I just got the shingles shot because my mom had it. She has it. It's really vile. So I went and got the shingles shot. That's a 2-dose vaccine also. Now,
my wife just got that.
Yeah. It's a horrible, skin rashy, burning, itchy thing that you can prevent now. So, I'm over 60. I went and I had it, but you have to have it in 2 doses, right? And they have to be no more than 6 months apart. So in order for them to be able to start and know, let's say there's a 6-month, apart thing, they have to know that they can do the second 300 million within 6 months. You know what I'm saying? It's not that easy.
You're only thinking of the U.S. You're not thinking of the world.
Right, I'm only thinking of the U.S. That's all I'm thinking of. And so,
well, you can't think that way.
But I'm just saying, to keep the numbers small and manageable, use the population.
And the rest of the world just goes stuck there.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm trying to.
I know you're not saying that, but you're implying that.
I'm not implying that. I'm not saying that. I'm just keeping the numbers to a level that people can comprehend them, instead of talking about 1 billion people in India and 1 billion people in China. And okay, and 300 million in America, and 47 million or 25 million in South Korea, and then adding them all together and saying how many doses we would need makes the conversation hard to follow. That's all I'm saying.
It makes it impossible, is what it says.
Okay, it's not impossible, it's just difficult. Anyway, he lied. He lied all day today. You want to know deaths per million? He said, we've got the lowest fatality rate in the world. That's a lie. I wish it was true. It's not true. Okay, so we're kind of... Bolivia has 766 deaths per million. The United States has 735 deaths per million. And we're kind of in league with Bolivia, Mexico, the UK, Ecuador, and Moldova. Okay, enjoy the weekend. Seriously, rest up. You're going to need it. Maybe he'll concede. I doubt it. Congratulations to President-elect Joe Biden and Vice President-elect Kamala Harris.